Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
I'm really looking forward to spending some precious time with you today. And to begin with, we will sit for just 10 minutes today. And I'm sure others will join us while we're sitting. So thank you very much, Cassie and Ed, for being monitors today. And one of you is going to ring the bell. Thank you. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. So I'm just moving to gallery view so I can see you all, which is very, very lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. So I'd like to share a story with you today. I'd like to invite you to take a gentle walk with me through my recollections of being alive in January. And as with all memories, these will be shifting and changing in my mind as I share them with you in this present moment. And I hope our walk together reveals some points of inquiry for you. So on the 8th of January, I had a double hernia operation, and I felt that the weeks following my operation offered a wonderful opportunity in the quiet January days and nights to pause, to become more intimate with the mystery of myself and my relation to being and time, and perhaps to loosen and relax my relationship to time. And I was going to need rest, move slowly, and not walk far from home. My home and the small area around it would become my zendo. And I wanted to let my mind off the lead and see where it would wander and about what it would wander. And it all began with the little death of having a general anesthetic. And just now, when I met Ed and Cassie, I thought how wonderful to be greeted by those two lovely people. And I remember when I came out of the anesthetic, the first person I saw was a woman called Charlotte. And she was so kind and warm and perfect to awake to from the general anesthetic. So at this time, a dear friend gave me a gift. It's called the Almanac, a seasonal guide to 2026. And each month in its pages, amongst other things, you can open to the wonder of the shapes made by the tide tables, the star map, and the phases of the moon. And I was particularly drawn to the verse for January. It said, "I anchor myself and dream into my depths. I remember who I am and call all parts of me home. From this place I tend to my boundaries and nourish my body and soul." So on the day following my operation, still under the influence of the anesthetic, I listened in bed to Jeremy Irons read T.S. Eliot's The Four Quartets. And during the reading, as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I felt I experienced the four quartets on drugs. The four quartets, written in the middle years of the 20th century, can be described as a meditation on being and time. And it begins, time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. If all time is eternally present, all time is unredeemable. What might have been and what has been point to one end, which is always present. And Dogen, 7 centuries before, explores being in time in the fascicle The Time Being, Uji. And he wrote, "The way the self arrays itself is the form of the entire world. See each thing in this entire world as a moment of time. Things do not hinder one another, just as moments do not hinder one another. The way-seeking mind arises in this moment. A way-seeking moment arises in this mind. It is the same with practice and with attaining the way. Thus the self, setting itself out in array, sees itself. This is the understanding that the self is time." And during this time, I read some of Hugo's comments on the gateless barrier. And in the book, he writes about the way-seeking mind of Deshan, who eventually became one of the great Chan masters. And Deshan was a student of Longtan. One night, after Deshan had asked Longtan many, many questions, Longtan said, "It's getting late. You'd better return to your quarters." At the door, Deshan said, "It's getting dark." Longtan said, "Well, let me give you a lantern." He lit it, saying, "Take it." Just as Deshan went to reach for it, Longtan blew out the light. Hugo says that at that moment, Deshan gained complete enlightenment. He goes on to say, "Have you ever noticed that while a candle can be quite bright, shining outward, right underneath, there's always a shadow? All of your words and concepts, all of our words and concepts, are like the light from the lantern, which shines outward but remains dark in the center. You may be quite smart with your ideas of things, but you are dark with regard to who you are." And during this practice time in January, that was my practice, to explore the darkness of who I am. I received a precious gift in the dark of one of these winter nights. For much of my adult life, I've had an anxious dream where I haven't completed the English literature component of my degree. I can't remember if I've completed enough assignments, and I know there is one assignment I need to complete, but I just can't find the books to read to complete it. There is never anybody in my dream to ask about it. Then one night, in the middle of January, the dream took an unexpected and beautiful turn. A kind and thoughtful man called Tom Turner appeared. He'd been head of English in the high school I taught in the early 80s. He wasn't the person who was at the college I attended, who I would have really needed to have asked, but he appeared in my dream. I explained the problem to him, and he said in his reassuring way, "You don't need to worry about this anymore. Just write about this practice life. You don't need to worry about this anymore. Just write about this practice life." And when I was going to the bathroom in the night, as older men do, I made the point of writing down Tom Turner, this practice life, so I didn't forget it. And it felt like he was saying, I release you from your suffering and your anxiety. Write about the mystery. Talk about the mystery. And it was also like he said he knew there is this practice life. He didn't say this practice path or your practice path. This practice life that everybody is in, this robe of liberation. So something quite profound has shifted, I think, in my sense of some of the anxieties I hold in my life. This vast practice life. So our son Ben bought us a radio for Christmas, and I must confess I've used it practically all myself. Trudy hasn't really had an opportunity to use it. And during my recovery, I took the radio with me to different parts of the house. It was about the maximum weight I could carry, so it was okay. And I reacquainted myself with what is available on BBC Radio 3, Radio 4, and in particular the BBC World Service. And on Radio 3, I enjoyed, for example, Night Tracks, music for the still of the night. And on the BBC World Service, an exploration about what happened during general anesthesia, a state I had recently experienced, but not surprisingly had forgotten a few days before. And in particular, I kind of stumbled across the blessing of these two particular programs. It was like they were kind of waiting for me. I was ready to hear them. There's a program called Private Passions in which a guest explores their life through their choice of music. And Paul Chahidi, an Iranian-born British actor, was in conversation with Michael Barclay, and he was talking about Peter Avery, who's an expert on Hafiz at Cambridge. And Peter Avery said, Sufis believe there is a transmitter in all of us that connects us to God, but we have forgotten how to tune it in. We have forgotten how to tune it in. And I wonder how much of our practice is actually a practice of tuning into something, tuning into this self we think we are, this world that surrounds us. And how often do we feel actually in tune with ourselves and our surroundings? Perhaps practice is because we have forgotten our birthright of this tuning in. My second beautiful thing I stumbled across was a program called Outlook on the BBC World Service, and Cass is going to put it into the chat towards the end of our session today. And the title of the program was The Stillness Was a Gift. And this was like a complete blessing for me this month. It was waiting there for me. It's an interview with Patrick Bringley, who, when he was mourning the loss of his brother, decided he wanted a completely different pace of life to the hectic media career he had been leading. So, aged 25, he became one of 500 guards at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And Patrick has written a book called All the Beauty in the World, A Museum Guard's Adventures in Life, Loss and Art. And the interview itself takes me to a very spacious place. I feel when he's talking, I'm in this kind of cathedral of beauty. and he explores his concept of time and his relationship to it and how it changed during his time at the Met in his conversation with Mabin Azar, who interviewed him. He said, "I had this peculiar job as a watchman to just stand to the side of all that and watch what was going on in this great museum." And I remember that Mark, who's with us tonight from New Zealand, when, I don't know whether you remember Mark, but one of the Swiss retreats, you were facing people in the Zendo, and Flint said to you, I want you to watch out during this retreat. And you said, I think, what am I watching out for? And he just said, just watch out, just pay attention. Maybe you remember that. And I've remembered it ever since, 10, 12 years, because there's something about our practice in watching out, in seeing, in taking things in and attending. So Mabin Azar asks Patrick Bringley about silence and stillness. And I'm going to read some of what he says because it just echoes our practice in a different context. So he says, "It was fantastic, it really was. As soon as you learn how to make peace with it, you realize pretty quickly that when you have a 12-hour day, you can't kill that time. You just have to make peace with the sort of unending horizons of it. And as soon as I learned how to do that, the stillness was a gift." Think about Zazen. As soon as I learned how to do that, the stillness was a gift. And he said, if you're told, hey, listen, you don't have any emails to write, you don't have things to do, that is all cleared off. I just want you to be a human being, your full self. At any point you can lift your head and you are performing your job perfectly as long as you are present in this moment. And then he goes on to say, this was an adventure in my own mind. And then he made this beautiful statement, which I think, in a sense, all of us want to take into the world in our relationships. He said, I learned the cadence of which I wanted to meet the world, the cadence of with which I wanted to meet the world and talk to people. And then towards the end of the interview, Mabin Azar asked Patrick, how do you see the relationship between the Met, which is this snapshot of so much of this human experience, and the more mundane, more practical world, which is family, kids, getting to work, the commute, paying bills, all of that stuff? How do you see that relationship now you've had that experience? Patrick says, I think if you go into the Met, you'll see that quite a lot of the art is about relatively mundane things. The sort of things you see every day, because quite a lot of the art is, say, portraits. Rembrandt is painting a portrait of his face looking in a mirror, and his face bears the marks of his difficult life. And he was bankrupt, and he had lost children. Then you come round the corner and you're looking at a Dutch landscape, and you're thinking, well, this is just a painting of the sort of ordinary mundane life they saw, that they saw on their commute to work, basically. I think the Met can really motivate you to see your own life with a sharper eye, a brighter eye, to realize that your life is not just mundane. Your life is filled with mystery, the biggest being the mystery of your existence. If our practice could support us to see life with a sharper eye, a brighter eye, wouldn't that be wonderful? So during the month of January, I could walk only slowly and not far from home. So I'd walk up to the Storey Garden a few hundred yards from here, nestled below Lancaster Castle, and sit quietly on a bench in the apparently sleeping garden. Then on another visit, I was greeted by snowdrops, and later crocuses. I think this extract from a poem called Oceans by Juan Ramon Jimenez speaks to my January and my walks to the Story Garden. He says, I feel that my boat has bumped there at the bottom into something big, and nothing happens. Nothing. Quiet. Waves. Nothing happens? Or has everything happened and we are already at rest in something new? I do feel that in the sleepy days of January, my boat has bumped in the dark into something big. Has nothing happened? Or has everything happened? Are we already at rest in something new? Perhaps better to keep with the question, with our questions, than strive towards the unanswerable. What do you think? Thank you very much. Hi, Joel.
Josh, thank you. Thank you for a beautiful talk. Really beautiful talk. I'm struck by the what you're pointing to also includes the vast ignorance that at least I move around in. One of the most striking examples being, I had no idea that you had gone through this so recently, and I wish I had. Oh. And I'm grateful for your very graceful exposition of this moonlight journey through a critically important part of your life, and how this gives the opportunity to reflect on how we can all open to not be afraid of what we're ignorant of, not be afraid of this practice life, but to welcome the opportunities that will appear to us, like a radio that just shows up, and you can tune it however you like. Yeah. All these metaphors fit together so beautifully. And this beautiful art museum of nature and snowdrops and crocuses and all these things that will appear to us, whether if we just can not be so consumed by our suffering or our thoughts about our suffering. I'm so grateful for this talk. I will say, I had some surgery. I had general anesthetic about a year and a half ago, and I was very surprised going into the anesthesia that I had a thought, which was, wouldn't it be great not to wake up? You know, that was one of the things. On the one hand, I reflected on my love for my wife and my son, and my concern for the people around me, and my gratitude to the team that was taking care of me, and all of those things. Sincerely thought about that, but that other thought caught me by surprise, and it comes back every once in a while. Like when I go to sleep, it's like, I wonder what it would be like not to wake up.
Yeah.
And it there was no fear in it, but. I'm grateful for your ongoing awakening. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, I really get what a pivotal moment it is when you kind of hand yourself over to a team to kind of put you down to have the operation, and I did have the thought, I do hope I wake up. But it is very strange walking towards the hospital, and you know you're going to have a kind of like a little death, something you don't understand how it works. So I really get how that thought would occur just as the procedure's happening to you. And I feel very warmed by your resonance with things I've explored. And I think in these, particularly troubled times, we also need things which give us joy and hope and connection. So appreciate your warm words, Joel, and also thank you for organising the inquiry program and including me in it. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Hi, Julia.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Josh. What a wonderful sharing. And the ability to talk about things that very often, if we've experienced, we keep to ourselves because of that feeling of who can we share with. And I just think it's beautiful that you can share these things. And I've always found that illness and recovery from illness puts one in a very privileged place. It's like the body asserting itself over the mind. It's saying, I've got a life too, and you're not going to dominate it. I'm going to be the key one this time. And of course, it's actually a combination, we know, body and mind. But there's that sense of giving oneself permission to do things differently, giving oneself permission to not get tied up in the day-to-day, and that open space to just see what comes next. And I just think it is a beautiful place to be in.
Yeah, I wonder if, that there's a way in which we can invite ourselves into that more and more. Not just, in my case, I was having an operation and it felt really timely. This was my opportunity to explore some things. But in this, this practice life, can we use every opportunity to open to something?
And to know that life goes on without you playing this kind of role. So one feels that, if I don't do that, things will all collapse. And actually, if you don't do some of those things, life carries on.
Well, that was an edge for me, to step back and not to, in particular, to lift things, and to change my routine and to receive help. So that was an edge, but I'm learning, and had to learn really. It is. We have to change our perspectives in some ways about who we are and what we can do, and often pain in our bodies tells us, gives us the signals, doesn't it? So.
But it's good to have you back with us.
Thank you. It's lovely to be back. Thank you, Julia. Hello, Lynn.
Going to see how this goes, because at the moment my ears have been sore and I haven't got my hearing aids in.
Oh.
So I've got the transcript coming down. So when you say something, Josh, I'll be able to read what
Okay.
So it's an interesting experiment.
I'll try and be clear.
There are a couple of things for me that I was noticing. That when you were talking about time, and I was thinking about January and the God Janus that looks in two directions, and how we're constantly looking forwards or backwards, and we don't stay with our feet on the ground, and how your January experience has brought you to that place of stillness, and being with, as Julia said, your body and this being present right now, and it also reminded me of when my children were little. They used to go to a playgroup, as many children do. And I remember one of the ladies who was the helpers there broke her leg, and she still came to the playgroup, so she couldn't move. She was sat in a chair in the corner, and I said to her one day, "How is it? How is it to be here?" And she said, "It's wonderful. All of the children come to me."
Mm.
And I was thinking that's how it felt, that life was coming to you.
Yes, it did feel like that. And it did feel like an opportunity to play a little bit with my habit energy around my what I attend to. And one of the things I would describe is I enjoyed wasting time in a way. And I'm not talking pejoratively, but I'm not. I usually have something to do, but I watched back issues of Country File and sometimes just sat still in a way that I haven't for years. So a different relationship with doing and being, I think, was helpful for me. Can you see the transcript?
I can see the transcript.
Good.
And I can see what you've said about being and doing. Really, those seem to be the things. And the other thing that I was going to ask you was, when I was thinking about when you said about the boat meeting something big, and I know I had my sense of what was something big, but I just wondered whether you had words for that.
It's we've sometimes talked about practice coming in the back door. We're attending to something that we think is the teaching, and it's getting in the house, and you kind of sense something is shifting, but you don't know what it is. It's the mystery of something, and it's maybe more identifiable in our bodies than our ideas. But I was curious about his. I'll just bring that up now. What the poet said, Juan Ramon Jimenez. He said, "I feel my boat," and then he says, "Or has everything happened, and we are already at rest." So he talked about himself as a we. These many aspects of ourselves, these many parts of ourselves. And there's something for me about taking, the whole internal family to this. And are we at rest in something? Let's see what he said. Coming up now, and I'm already at rest in something new. And I think just that he asks the question touches me, but I kind of don't want to get involved with messing with something which feels very mysterious. It's like, okay, I keep the question. And I think, you resonate with that, don't you?
Yeah.
Keep the question really deep and fresh.
Yes. Yes. Just letting that be there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience with me.
Oh, no, I didn't need to have any patience. Just looking at you and seeing you was enough. Thank you, Lynn. So I just a little PS, a little extra. I was talking to Lynn about these episodes of Country File I've been watching, and I like watching it because they go and meet people who are doing really beautiful things. Someone who wants to save a particular butterfly or care for a particular field, and just doing great things in a quiet, unobtrusive way. And in one of the programs, the presenter Charlotte was talking to Rachel from the British Trust for Ornithology, and she said, and you're pretty lucky to be able to sit and look at places like this. And Rachel says, I think it takes a special person to look out at the muddy, weedy, scummy-looking estuary and to see how complex and beautiful it is. But I think the birds tell us that. So, Mark, hello. Love to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
It's such a long time.
It has, yeah. Well, I've actually been here a few times, that's for sure.
I've seen. Yeah. Ah.
Yeah. So I have primary progressive aphasia. Yeah, and I think we talked about that, didn't we? Earlier.
A while ago.
Yeah. And but I'm doing well.
Good.
Yep. And yeah. So anyway.
Do you remember that moment in the Zendo in Switzerland?
Oh, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like it was like was it 7 years ago?
I think it was more with the last retreat was in 2018, and I think this was a few before that. So
yeah, me too. Yeah. So yeah.
You always ask great questions in inquiry, and you said, well, what do you mean? Watch out for something. And he just watch out and pay attention. For the whole retreat.
Yeah. So that was when was that? Was it 2003?
They started in around about 2000. I think the first ones we went to was 2011.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And we kept going until 2018, I think.
Right. Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. Amazing, eh?
Yeah.
He was an amazing fellow, Vint.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
He is a fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good to see you. I'd love to connect. outside of inquiry, we could have a Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
See
thank
you
you, Mark.
soon. Yeah.
Bye. Hi, Kathy.
Well, hi, Josh. It's so wonderful to hear your story. I'm so glad you're here, first of all. And what an important wondering, really, about stillness. And I remember it must have been maybe 2020. It was in the beginning of the pandemic. I was the head student at Open Door, and I think you were receiving transmission.
Yeah.
And we talked at that time about time. And you helped me a lot because you reframed it as schedule. And I thought, oh, that's helpful. That's something I can kind of have control over. You know, I can try to schedule less or anyway, I'm not sure it's gone that well. One of the things I've noticed lately is even while I'm sitting, what my mind is doing is planning.
Yeah.
It's happening all the time. And so I was just thinking, well, to have a day with no emails, no projects, no nothing, and then I just realized, oh, I'm scheduling an empty day. It's still scheduling. So I don't know how to get a handle on it, but I really appreciate what you've inspired in me to think about it.
Yeah. It's a paradox in that, you have to start by scheduling a day.
Exactly. Yeah.
I kind of schedule a month in some ways,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then it fits in with our habits, but we're scheduling something which might ease the suffering of our habits.
That's right. Right. Yeah, I'm just realizing how ubiquitous this is in my life. There's always, trying to not only plan but control, really
Yeah.
manage everything.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a lot you manage.
Yeah, and partly it's because there are those hours, I will say, where I get lost in maybe one thing, and then there's less hours for the other things, and it's
Yeah.
just is.
Yeah. It
So
it's like what you bring to practice is what is one of those koans around time.
that's right. It is. Yeah.
It's your one of the things you have to be with.
Yeah, and I so appreciate you naming it again. But and I've been naming it. Like I said, I've been naming the planning. Oh, I'm planning again. Oh, I'm planning again. Yeah. So it's how this, like with you, the radio and the programs and your need for stillness, it all came together. It's beautiful, really.
And
So
I'm
thank you for that.
right with you on this scheduling and planning and
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah, I've always felt that since that conversation a long time ago. I've always felt that. Like you get it, I get it, you get it. Thank you.
stress for us. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Good to
Thank
see you too.
So we're just coming to the end of our precious time together, and I wish you in the coming week some moments of feeling tuned, in tune.
That's good.
So we'll now go to the 4 practice principles, if you'll join me with those, please. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Thank you so much for being here and supporting everybody by your presence. And I'll now hand over to our wonderful monitors to complete our session together. Thank you so much.